Hello, welcome. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about backgrounds, whether to do them or not. So stick around if you need some help. In my last video, I painted this really lovely transparent flower, and I said I'd talk about what backgrounds to do. So what I thought was, I've got a selection of paints here. These were the ones I used last week or in the last video, and I've got a set of paints already, and I'm going to pick a few and decide what background to do. Watercolour paper is expensive, so I've kept the offcuts, created a little box of scrap papers, and I'm going to use these to test the colours and then put them next to the flower and work out which one would be best. And I thought that would be a good way to show you guys exactly how I do this. I'm just adding a bit of water. I'm just going to use the wet on wet technique, and I'm going to use the orange that I used for the centre of the petals just to see if that would work. Immediately as I paint this, I think it's going to be way too bright for the background. But what I'll do is I'll compare them all at the end. Do you see what I mean? It just looks a bit too bright for this, and I think the background would take away the centre or the focal point, which is the transparent flower. I don't think I'm going to use that colour, but let's just carry on. Let's pick out another piece of paper and add some water on it first, and then I'm going to pick a different colour. And this one is, I think this one's called Rose Madder. It might be quinacridone red. Either way, again, I think it's going to be a touch bit too bright to take the focus away onto the background rather than the flower. I'll pop that to one side, do another one. How do you feel about backgrounds? Do you leave the background or do you attempt it? Let me know in the comments, because it can be quite controversial. And I'm interested to know what people's opinions are of backgrounds. This one is sap green, and this looks like, I feel like it would work with this particular colour. So we'll come back to that in a second. And the next colour I am going to pick, these are the Shinhan PWC paints that I've got, by the way. And this next one is peacock blue. And I quite like this blue. This is looking interesting as well. This is a possibility. At first, when you first look at it, it perhaps may look bright. The other thing to mention is watercolours, they first start off quite bright on the paper, and then you do get sort of a shift in colour as it dries. So even though it looks bright as I put this down on the paper, when it dries, they don't dry as bright. That's an interesting one. Sap green and peacock blue sound good at the moment. And you can do this as well when you are unsure about whether to do a background or not. You can do the background first if you feel more comfortable with doing that, or you can do that afterwards after you've painted your subject. So this one is from the Browns selection, so raw sienna. And I also added in there some burnt umber as well, just to get a feel, just to see what it would like, just to mix a couple of the browns. And I think that was raw umber. I will put the exact name in the description box for you as well. Again, we'll come back to that. So this next one I picked was from the Holbein range, and this is the shell pink. Really nice, really lovely, gorgeous colour. I will definitely paint some flowers with this. I think that will be really nice. However, I think it will make the background wishy-washy, if that makes sense. I don't think it's going to be bright enough to make the purple stand out. So again, I feel like I'm probably not going to use that. This one is Payne's Grey. It's the last one just to test out, and I feel like this could be a good one as well. Payne's Grey can be really dark. Obviously you can water it down to make it lighter, but this looks like it could be really dark, and I feel like it would work to make the flower stand out. Okay, so let's put them all together, start working out what would work, what wouldn't work, and let's hold them like a pack of cards. And let me get the pink one, or shell, that's shell pink. Again, I don't think that's going to work. The blue, yes, I'm liking that. What else did I do? Okay, that looks a bit garish. Lovely colour, don't get me wrong, but too bright for this. I don't feel like the browns are going to work, so I'm going to put that to one side. And I'm liking the Payne's grey, so I think I'm definitely going to use that. Let me get rid of the pink one. I keep saying pink, quinacridone red or rose madder. I'll put that to one side. And I think the orange is too bright. I think the pink is too light. So I think I've decided I'm going to go with Payne's grey, sap green, peacock blue. Let me know in the comments what your thinking is behind the colours that I've picked. Would you have picked the same ones? Would you follow this process to help you pick a background? Or do you think, no, I'm not going to paint a background, I'm just going to leave it white and be safe? Let me know what you're thinking. I'd love to know what other people think in terms of background. Some people hate it, some people love painting backgrounds, so I'd be interested to know. I've sped this bit up because all I'm basically doing is just popping the water down on the background, being really careful to go around the edges of the petals and just dropping the colours in. And I've added in the green and the blue sort of the furthest away from the petal, and I'm going to add in the Payne's grey really carefully around the petal. One thing I should mention to you is, if you're not careful, the paint that you've got down already, if you put too much water down, you could reactivate the paint on the paper. If you want, I mean, you could use masking tape. It might be a bit tricky to get around the petal, or you could use masking fluid. I have used masking fluid only once, and I didn't get on very well with it, so I'm not sure if I'm going to do that again. This is just in my sketchbook. It's just a practice, just to get a feel of colours and how they would sort of work together. So I'm not too fussed. I don't mind being not too perfect. So this works for me. It'd be interesting to know what you think though. You might be wondering what is going on here. She's just painted a background. This is a different page. I painted the transparent flower again because I really wanted to try it with the pink, Holbein pink, and just to show you what I mean by it will look a little bit wishy-washy. I've done exactly the same thing. I've put water down first, and I've put some pinks in there, and I've also put some of the orange in there as well, which you'll see me do in a second, and some of the lilac as well, and then just blended it all in really nicely. The colours are absolutely beautiful. I think it's come out absolutely gorgeous. However, it does blend in too much with the flower, with the focal point, which is the flower. It just all becomes one. But I'd be interested to know what you think. Let me know in the comments if you actually prefer this background or if you prefer the darker background. And here's the end results. Dark background, light pink background. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.